Yeah.
So Shivani gets into the ring and goes to interview Regal. And Regal explains it's been 29 years since he came to America. He's lived a hard life with battles in the ring and with himself. And I am not long for this world, referencing that it won't be long before my wife has to wheel me to the old folks home. And he is here to be with these incredible gentlemen. And he starts to tear up thanking Tony Schiavone. He's like, I would like to thank you because when I first came here, you helped me. And this was like a really emotional moment for these two. And it felt like Tony had no idea this was coming. And maybe it was just a like spur of the moment thing by Regal to, thank Tony Schiavone, because then he has to get back to business here, explaining this team coming together and his link to them. He said he's no longer required in his old job. And for the last 2 months, I checked out of this industry. When I was told that Danielson had mentioned my name on Dynamite, it piqued my interest and I started to watch. And I found out that my friend of 21 years is going to fight this man, Jon Moxley. And most people only know me now because of this man, Bryan Danielson. I am here to help people become better professional wrestlers, and Bryan Danielson is the perfect wrestler, the wrestler that I should have been, but he didn't have the problems I had, and he goes over their history, training through all hours, and how much of a sponge Danielson was, soaking up all of his knowledge. And then 11 years ago, I met this man, this rogue, and the physical and psychological issues we had with one another would make the devil cry, and calls this the perfect combination, and gives warning to any team, you will not like the outcome. Step up or get stepped on.
Fantastic. Lovely. I have a feeling maybe like, I wonder if like, how much time he was actually allotted, because a lot of this seemed very freeform. And
it felt like he just went. Because this was like a lengthy promo, and they hit the music at the end. Like I think they wanted to wrap this,
because like I felt like he probably had a bit more to say about Mox, because he went so pretty long on Bryan, and I was looking forward to him actually telling me about the Mox connection. But nonetheless, like it felt incredibly organic.
He's like, I went to Bloodsport with this guy in 2019, and we sat in the rafters together.
Yeah, we were there. Yeah, we remember that scene. Anyway, but like how long has it been since we've been able to hear William Regal speak like organically? That was
well, think about this. When was the last time Regal did a true unscripted promo? Like by the time he came into WWE, they were into like scripting by 2000.
Yeah. Well, he was as the commissioner, you're not cutting promos. Like anytime you're in the WWE, you're not really cutting this sort of promo. And in NXT, I mean, he was very effective in the role, but quick statements. Like he was never given like, go out there for 10 minutes or something like that. Like it was quick and War Games. That was it. Yeah. And by the way, John, great recap here. As Aaron in the chat room says, great recap of the promo. But yeah, like, and I'll tell you what, the thing is, for so long we've heard, Bryan Danielson, like everybody cites Shawn Michaels, like in the WWE, like it's always, Bryan Danielson, former student of Shawn Michaels. But Bryan Danielson himself will tell you that like the greatest influence in his wrestling career was William Regal. But we never got that story told to us in the WWE, because like what incentive would they have to promote William Regal, right? We finally got that story on TV here from William Regal himself, and I'm sure there's a whole lot more story to be told.
He only trained like with Shawn. Like he graduated high school, so you're talking like June. His first match is in October. So, I mean, like that's kind of the time that he's at like the Texas Wrestling Academy. And it was like, it was an impressive class he was part of, but it was like a relatively short period that he was training there, and then just out going around. And it was, several years before he like started to really gain a name for himself by like, 01.
Yeah. So we're getting this tag team. Do you think that it expands into a stable, John? And how long of a team do you think this
for now lasts? I kind of just like this. Like he threw out like the perfect combination, the incredible gentleman. Like I think there's like a few names you could go by. I kind of like just the team for now. Like they weren't really emphasizing like the recruitments at this point, which is something you can add at some point. Like Regal did say, I'm here to train people to become better professional wrestlers. You could open that door, but I hope they establish the team first before we start adding more to it. Because I think this is like still an act you want to kind of establish and just let them run roughshod on this tag division.
It's an interesting choice of names. I mean, obviously the real life connection kind of makes a lot of sense, but I mean, this is almost already an all-star team, right? You have two top guys who can not only, I mean, they're main eventers who can really go in the ring, but they can also talk as well on their own. So to add William Regal on top of it, it's almost like, like a super group where somebody, like of three lead guitarists who could talk on the mic, all talk on the microphone, and two of them having to, play rhythm because, like we're letting, William Regal cut a solo or something.
This is why Wayne and I never started a band together. we would override each other's talents.
But I'm curious to know like how they play with their dynamic, especially on the microphone. Does Mox speak a bit less now that you kind of have William Regal do the talking, or do they find an interesting dynamic and do they emphasize different character points of each one?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to explore with this. I think it's like a really entertaining combination. I think it really goes. It's almost like a tag version of Nick Bockwinkel and Bobby Heenan, where it was like two phenomenal talkers, or like even like the modern day, like the Heyman Punk combination, where it just, here are two incredible talkers, in this case three, but it's like these elite level performers that are all together. I just think it's a great addition to the tag division, which is already loaded, and now you're adding this to the mix. So I think there's many different ways you can go. And when you're ready, then you can have like the pupil that comes in, and just by that connection, it elevates a Lee Moriarty or whoever you want to isolate in the future.
We are at the stage now in AEW where there's so much talent, even in the singles main eventer role, that Tony Khan can shove a Bryan Danielson and a Jon Moxley into the tag team division just to make room, for other people in the singles division.
It's wild.